Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome in, AMP, to an extra special Sunday morning edition of Snaps. It's an interesting Sunday morning for your boy. I've got the girls in the office with me. It's a great time. I'm a bit in the Sunday morning doghouse. Aaron, I let college football Saturday kind of take me away, if you will. It's the old line from what Bilbo tells Frodo. Be careful when you step out that door, because you kind of never know where it's going to take you. That was basically me. 11 a.m. LSU kickoff. I stepped into a double mezcal at 11:15, and next thing you know, I'm sleeping on my next door neighbor's concrete at about midnight. And I've got approximately 30 to 40 texts from the wife about not putting kids to sleep, how mad she is at me, how worthless I am. So we are, hey, but I watched a lot of football, and it was a fun Saturday, but we're going to have to make up for it on this Sunday. How are you feeling today, man? How was calling the game yesterday?
Calling the game was good. I completely understand the nature in which you were acting yesterday with LSU looking like 2019 LSU and Jaden, the way he's performed the past 2 weeks. I mean, hey, LSU, top 5 team in America. I don't blame you for getting a little rowdy.
You're still banging that drum. I feel you. Look, the LSU game played like we thought it would. Again, LSU's offense has been really good this entire year, save for 2 possessions. But whatever. We're not going to talk LSU because there's a few big stories today from yesterday. First off, the Colorado State battle ended up being infinitely better than anybody could have guessed. And that is kind of a funny thing that you saw yesterday as well, as anytime you get these slates that are supposed to be dog shit, there's always something that shocks you, right? And you saw yesterday, I mean, Mizzou kicks a 61-yard walk-off winner to beat a very good Kansas State team. Are you kidding me? That was awesome. At home, you have Florida State in a tough battle with BC. Alabama and UGA stink. I want to get into that. Tennessee, still Tennessee, guys. You thought you had arrived, not so fast. So I guess the point of it is, even on these sleepy Saturdays, there's always better action than we anticipate. And Colorado State was just that, as Jay Norvell had Coach Prime and the boys on the ropes, down 11 late. They have to score a touchdown in the final minute, 2-point conversion to force OT. They go to double OT, but in the end, Prime, Shedeur, and the boys walk away with the dub.
I just love the quote from Coach Prime saying, I looked over to the other side of the field and said, there's no way I'm going to let this man beat me. It's kind of like when my brother and I are playing backyard basketball when I was a little kid. And he looks at me and says, okay, enough's enough already. I've been kind of letting my little brother hang around for just a little bit too long. It's kind of pissing me off now. There's no way in hell I'm letting this little kid beat me. And man, Colorado, it is, you could not have scripted it better, because I know a lot of us were watching the pregame, whether you're watching the Fox big noon kickoff, which I think they're doing a great job with that, or the ESPN one. Man, they got The Rock, they got Little Wayne there, they got Gronkowski there. I mean, it was a party in Boulder, Colorado yesterday.
Yeah,
a who's who, even on the sideline, a who's who of the game. It's like the Los Angeles Lakers when they started bringing all the celebrities to the game. Like, that's the feeling now at Boulder, Colorado.
Actually, true. Yeah,
that's the feeling. Like, Deion's bringing all the boys to go to Boulder to have a good time. And you got rappers in the locker room pregame, all that good stuff. And then you win a game in double overtime. I mean, that you could not have scripted it better for Deion to continue to just dominate the headlines once again this weekend.
Well, and that is where it gets kind of insane, right? I mean, you think about the margins, and everything you just said. It's not just the fact that there is an avalanche of criticism waiting to assault this team whenever they finally trip up, right? But that is there. It's basically like last night, there were a lot of dudes with white Oakleys on Twitter who had tweets ready to go, quite fire them off. So you have all that. You have, like you said, you have the stars, all that. There's just such a large spotlight, and you were dead. You were dead in the water. You were not going to win that game. And with 30 seconds left, you score a touch on the tide, and then it all comes down to a 2-point conversion. If you don't get that 2-point conversion, you lose. Yeah. So to get that close to death, and you emerge on the other side with the massive win. Shedeur Sanders, this entire team, Michael Harrison ends up catching all the 2-point conversions all the time. It just, this entire team showed, and you might say, oh, well, Colorado State stinks. That was a close game. And that's all fair. Look, I don't think Colorado's going to beat Oregon, USC still, but
doesn't matter. You're 3-0.
Well, it doesn't matter. But also, like, I don't care about how good or bad Colorado State is. They came ready to play, and this Colorado team showed some real resilience to find a way to win that game when you had to. And you look up,
well, that's the second time we've done it. That's the second time they've done it. I mean, go back to even week 1 versus TCU, where they came out swinging. They take the lead. TCU comes back, takes the lead, and you kind of like, okay, that was great and cute by Deion and the football team. It was cute, but then they came back and they started throwing some haymakers. They end up winning the football game.
Yeah.
Last week versus Nebraska, ugly start. The first half, no one's really scoring points. They find a way to dominate and run away with it in the second half. This week, same thing. Not a great start. Travis gets hurt. He gets banged up. Colorado State's a little bit more physical than you to start the game. And you find a way to get a 98. Like when that punter punted it and the ball went out the 2-yard line and you look up and there's like 2 minutes to go and you got to go 98 yards to score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion.
God, 98 yards, dude. That is a mythological drive.
Like you said, like everyone is just ready to say, okay, finally we're going to put the fork in Deion Sanders. He's going to lose a game and we're going to be able to rip him on social media or on YouTube, whatever it want to be. And they go down there and march and score. And then then who does this to say in overtime, I want the ball first.
Yeah.
And that is
crazy.
His relationship with Shedeur, his son, is absolutely incredible. I don't know if you've seen what they do for their pregame, but they walk from the 40-yard line to the goal line and back. And he says, I think it's from the 40 to the goal line, I'm your dad. And I'm talking to him like you're my son. And as soon as we hit the goal line and walk back, I'm your coach. And I'm going to talk to you like I'm a coach.
Whoa.
So like they kind of have that moment. And it's just, I'm telling you, man, like the way that he can communicate with his team, the way that he can talk to his sons and the rest of the team, it's special, man. It is so unique and so cool. And I would love to have had the opportunity just to be in that locker room and see how he does it. But from everything that I'm hearing and seeing, he is truly one of a kind. But going back to that drive, to be able to go 98 yards, do that, say, I want the ball first in overtime, score and score again and end up winning the thing. This is a good football team. And his son, Shedeur, is an absolute stud. He's a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. And I know you said, oh, they have no chance versus Oregon. They have no chance versus USC. And maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. According to Prime, Travis may be out for the next couple weeks. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
When you have a quarterback like him, like I said this last week, you will always be in the game. He's just too good.
Yeah.
He's too good.
Yeah. And I mean, you saw last night, and he was, and like to your point, I mean, that 98-yard drive will live on in Colorado Buffs history forever. That is mythological. Oh, wow. Brum put in the show chat here that they're 16.5-point dogs. I mean, I would feel the only thing about playing that makes me a little worried is like everybody's on it, right? And that's always when these things go awry. I mean, you saw it yesterday, right? Everybody was on the 23.5, and look what ended up happening. Whatever though, we cannot get out of it, and we'll move on to Colorado now, but we do have to shout out Shilo Sanders for all the Shedeur talk. For all the Shedeur talk, Shilo Sanders got ranked last in Prime's Kid Power rankings. He hasn't gotten any love this year, and he comes up with a massive pick six early on, a forced fumble later. Shilo Sanders, take a bow, dude. Showing up big for your dad and your brother when they needed you.
Yeah.
Good job, Shilo. We're proud of you, dude, here on Snaps. Also, it's incredibly lame that Travis Hunter gets hurt on an illegal hit, like on a cheap shot.
Yeah. A lot of cheap shots from Colorado State last night. I think 9 total personal penalties.
And so it's weird, right? Because I'm, glass houses, like, I can't even lie. I was a dirty ass player. I get why they're doing it. If you're not as good, you get dirty, you try to,
intimidate,
hurt him, intimidate, puff your chest out a little bit. So like, I get why they did it, and I can't say that I would not have done the same. But on this side of it, now that I'm an adult and I sit here and I talk about all this sort of stuff, it's incredibly lame that one of the best players in the entire country that was building a legitimate Heisman campaign is now going to be out for a few weeks because of a cheap shot. So that sucks. Also, the guy 11 immediately gave up a touchdown later in the drive. So way to go, bro. All right. So that was Colorado. Like you said, though, man, ton of celebrities. That place was packed. Big time ticket. What if you were just like in Boulder and you're like, oh man, I want to go see Coach Prime? You know what you need? You need the Game Time app. Okay. It is the fastest growing ticket app in the United States. And it can be last minute, right? You want some last minute amazing deals to your favorite college team, pro team this September. You want to download Game Time. But it's not just football, okay? Baseball, concerts, comedy shows. They got it all on the Game Time app. Just download the app today. And if you use the code SNAPS, you get $20 off your first purchase. That's SNAPS, SNAPS. Terms apply. So download the Game Time, enter code SNAPS, $20 off. And no matter where you live, go have some fun this week. Doesn't have to be Boulder. Any tickets, fastest growing ticket app in the United States. Download Game Time today. Lowest price guarantee. All right, let's get back to some of these other games. Aaron, do you want to start with Alabama stinking or UGA stinking?
Let's start with Alabama stinking first.
This is hilarious to me. So we started to kind of around Friday, it started to break that Tyler Buchner was going to get the start.
Ooh.
And I immediately went to troll Alabama fans online and put up Buckner's career stats and saying, like, yes, like this is definitely going to fix it, right? Because I think he's thrown like 5 touchdowns to 6 picks in his entire career. Like, yes, this is definitely going to be the panacea for all your issues. And you know what? Turns out Tyler Buchner still not very good at football. I mean, it was you kind of knew it coming in. The stats said it. He ends up 5 of 14, 34 yards. Okay, well, let's try Ty Simpson. 5 of 9, 73 yards. You win in South Florida 17-3. Just gross all the way around. I mean, what do you do here? You have to go back to Jalen Milroe, right? Like he's clearly the best quarterback.
Oh, it's definitely not Buchner.
Definitely not Buchner. Buchner's
definitely not
out for sure.
Buchner needs to be out. Buchner, you are
Notre Dame and Paulie Walnut's next level invasion. They're like a parasite.
So sabotage Alabama.
Yes. It's a literal deep state sabotage by Notre Dame to ruin Alabama.
I wouldn't be hesitant to maybe give Ty the opportunity to start. I mean, the problem is now, you really can't start flip-flopping quarterbacks anymore. Like I think you have to kind of make a decision and roll with it somewhat. I also think you need to lower expectations as an Alabama fan base and as a coaching staff. I mean, I've been saying this the entire offseason. Like, you're not good enough to win a championship this year. You don't have the key position, and you're young everywhere else. So, like, who in my mind, who's the best quarterback we can build leading into 2024? Who is going to be that guy?
Probably Simpson, right?
And that's probably Simpson in my mind. So, like, I am building this team right now with the process of, we're going to have to win games on defense. We're going to have to be electric up there. We're going to have to continue to get more physical at the offensive line position, which, I mean, that's the also crappy thing right now. You look at this offensive line, wasn't great versus Texas, and versus USF, it wasn't like it was extremely dominant either. So, like, you're just going to be a good football team that's going to be a 9-3 team this year. So, if we're building for the future, I think you got to give Ty more of an opportunity to go out there and see if he could be that guy first. So I would lean towards Ty Simpson being QB1 next week. And if all kind of shit hits the fan, you put Jalen in from there. But Buckner's lost his chance.
Yeah, no, we're all the way. I mean, Buchner now has never showed us anything in his college career that says he's going to be a good quarterback. At least not on this level. What about does this all feel a little reactive to you from Nick Saban and company? This I guess I'm just, again, like, especially like, okay, take Ty Simpson out of it because you started Buchner last night. Like, in what world did Jalen Milroe play so badly that you thought that Tyler Buchner deserved to start over him? Like, that's what really surprises me here. Like, it feels a little.
I think it was
a reach of desperation that I've never seen out of Alabama before.
No, it's squarely on the idea of which it's hard to say that because he was somewhat of a turnover machine back at Notre Dame too. Can we put someone in there who's not going to lose us the game? I think that's
I know, but that's what Buchner. But
I know that's what he's done in the past.
That's his history as well. Yeah,
but I think this goes back to kind of what I heard from Ty Simpson from some people is we can't put one quarterback in there because he's shown that he can't take care of the football. Our young quarterback at Ty Simpson maybe doesn't have complete confidence in the playbook right now. Can we put someone in there that at least knows the playbook, has some familiarity with the offensive coordinator, and can just run the base game plan and not screw it up? I think right now they're just trying not to screw it up, which is for an Alabama offense that has been so explosive for the past decade. Yeah. And has been on, like, essentially since Lane Kiffin got there, been one of on the forefront of offenses and creativity. Is kind of in a position right now where they're saying to themselves, how do we just not screw it up? How can we just like not fuck up this football game? And that's the way they're going to play the rest of the season.
That's insane too. Because I don't even think that Buckner can really do that base level job of just run the offense either. Like, it is shocking. Like you said, after a decade of being dominant, it is shocking at how poorly mismanaged this quarterback room really is at Alabama right now. So I'm enjoying trolling all of my friends, certainly, but this is like I know you win this game, obviously 17-3.
Shame on Tommy Rees though too. Like, you knew that he wasn't this good and you still brought him over.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, come on, Tommy. You could not have told me that you could have thought that this kid was good to walk into Nick Saban's office and say, Nick, I got our guy. Trust me. Let's go get this kid from Notre Dame. I know the stats aren't great, but he's good. Let's bring him in. Like, he's going to be waking up feeling like a fool right now, knowing that he told Nick Saban that this guy could be our possible quarterback this season.
Bro, I was just thinking about, like, I mean, how old is Tommy Rees? He's like 30, like right? Like, yeah, he's like our age. It's got to be real bad feeling pulling up to the office, getting ready for that Monday meeting, knowing you have to go walk in there and see Nick Saban after he bet on you. And like you said, after a decade of dominance and offensive brilliance from Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, Bill O'Brien, here you are, you're supposed to be the young hotshot, and it's just all fucking up, dude. Like, you think he sits in the car? This coaching
staff is a shell. This coaching staff is a shell of what it's been in years past. I mean, it's not even the top 4 for coaching staffs in the SEC.
You know what I love too is that for the first time you're seeing Alabama fans get like I love my guy Steve Moulton. Him and Wes Neighbors do a great show out of Huntsville. Like, I love those guys, right? And normally everything's all very jovial and funny, and we're all having a good time. But I tweet out some Alabama stuff, and I got a little like, why don't you worry about your lawn? Or, oh, they never learn, do they? And it's like, I've seen enough to know. It's like, oh, okay, dude. So now I can tell that you're really actually getting insecure. You know what I'm saying? Like, the second that the people who have always been nice, who have always been above it, who has always been like, that's cute. Yeah, no. Now they're getting a little snappy, a little frustrated. So, look, it is what it is, Alabama. I don't think you're any good this year. You're still, it's still between you and LSU in the West. You're still better than everybody in the West.
No, they're not. They're not. They're not. You can't tell me that they're better than everyone else in the West right now. They're not. They're going to lose another 2 games. They're going to lose to LSU.
But they'll be favored. They'll be favored against everybody.
What's the line for this weekend versus Ole Miss? I mean, I think Ole Miss could beat them this weekend.
They were close last year.
I think A&M could beat them in 2 weeks. I would put money on A&M to win that game in 2 weeks right now.
I mean, A&M hadn't looked great either. But I guess A&M's defense has been the problem. And yeah, to your point, Alabama's offense probably not going to be very well suited to take advantage of that.
No. I mean, this could be an 8-4.
I've seen Alabama minus 6.5 this next week
at home. I don't think they scare anyone, and they don't scare anyone on offense. That's for damn sure. I don't think there's no magic wand to solve right now what you can do in offense. You're the bottom half of the SEC when it comes to offensive production, and that it's not going to magically get better.
God, it's so crazy, man. It's like you said. I just kind of from the hip, I'm like, yeah, they're still the best team in the West, but like, yeah, I guess you're right.
No, they're not.
It just feels it's just so shocking to try to adjust your mindset. Oh man, everything just tastes a little sweeter. The air smells a little better. Energy's a little greater. And it's all because football is back and in full swing with another week of epic games. And can you guess who's got you covered? on all the action for every single one of those games? That's right. You already know the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Okay. An official betting partner of the NFL. And once again, right now, new customers can bet just $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. If you're signing up for the draft, you have the first time promo code TBOB. You bet $5 on football, you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Are you kidding me, guys? But it's not just the new customers, okay? Nobody misses out with DraftKings. In fact, all DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Just get on the app and check them out. So get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the app now using the promo code TBOB, TBOB, to sign up, and you can take advantage of that incredible new customer deal. Bet $5 and take home $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TBOB, TBOB. The crown is yours. All right, so Alabama 73 over South Florida feels like an absolute loss for them. The fan base is in shambles. Aaron, I'm not too tapped in to the UGA hive mind like you are. Is everybody just like super happy about the big SEC win yesterday? Huh? Yeah, 3-0.
No, they're not. They're not. Hey, listen,
South Carolina 24-14. Let's go, dude.
I mean, you make a couple chip shot field goals, it's 30-14. Maybe you feel a little bit better about that.
Yeah. Mike Bobo. How's everybody feel about Mike Bobo today?
Yeah, people aren't too happy with my boy Bobo here. But I mean, you look at the game and you look at Carson was super efficient. 27-35, 269. He's been taking care of the football extremely well. They finally ran the ball well. Like Deion Edwards.
Hold on. How many touchdowns did he throw? How many touchdowns did he throw? The Carson Beck.
0.
Remember the high? Oh, yeah. Oh, damn. My bad, dude. I didn't know. Dude,
Carson Beck of the season, 72% completion,
I don't want to hear. Exactly.
577 yards.
Yes,
I mean, he's
exactly.
been. No. It hasn't. What was it? Let me just defend it. You asked me a question here. They're not playing sexy football. They're not. I'll admit that right now. It's not sexy. It is very
They're not playing
efficient.
Good football.
I don't know. They're playing good football. They're playing good football. I think people are overreacting because they're not putting up 40, 50 points per game right now. And they're not making it look easy, but it's still good football. It is good football and it's winning football. I think people need to take a deep breath.
You know who's playing good football? Michael Penix Jr., 27-35, just like Carson Beck, only 473 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Okay, that's good football, Aaron. Carson Beck right now is a walking empty calorie game. Like you know about empty calories? You're a little skinny boy, like potato chips, right? Other stuff that don't actually, they have no value. Like Carson Beck's stat lines are empty calorie stat lines.
No, they're not. No,
they are.
It is. I would say that I think that the biggest difference between what I'm seeing from Georgia and say like a Washington right now, which is surprising me, is I haven't seen the elite explosiveness from the receivers. To me, that's the biggest difference. Like, yeah, you put some issues on Carson's not pushing the ball down the field or Carson's not doing this or that. I haven't seen these receivers make plays. And obviously you're missing your best receiver in Ladd McConkey, who's, was out for the 3rd straight game. But, I think Dom has played okay. He had some drops in the first game. Marcus Rosemary, Jack Saint finally got going a little bit in this game.
Such a good name.
Brock has been, somewhat non-existent. I know, got to find more creative ways to get him the ball, but there hasn't been that big time player making catches, making guys miss and running for touchdowns. I mean, you look at Washington, even on one of the tip passes, the guy caught it, made a couple guys miss and runs for a 40, 50 yard touchdown. Like Georgia doesn't have that guy at the receiving position, which I'm a little bit shocked because I kind of looked at that spot and I said beginning of the season, this receiving core is the best and deepest receiving core Georgia's had in a decade. And yet no one to me has stood out. So put all the blame you want on Bobo not pushing the ball vertically down the field. Put all the blame on Carson not pushing the ball vertically down the field and the lack of explosive plays. I think Bobo kind of looked back and said, I don't know if I really trust this receiving core right now to win one-on-one matchups down the field because no one's doing it.
So that's
you have to play. You have to play to your personnel a little bit too.
No, for sure. But what I'm saying is, so you are saying if you're doing the math between are the receivers not looking good because the quarterback isn't getting in there, or they're not? You're just saying the receivers are just not winning.
The receivers aren't winning in my mind. or they're winning enough to make catches or not winning enough to make explosive plays.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you talk about Alabama and then maybe an 8-4 team. This is kind of the first team with a pulse that Georgia played. Again, I don't think South Carolina is even particularly good. I mean, I really like
Spencer Rattler's damn good.
No, I was gonna say, like, I really love how well Spencer Rattler's played this year, but it's a team with obvious weaknesses. I mean, they're 1-2. They're 1-2.
I was just saying, like,
I'm saying, no, hold on. Have you adjusted your Georgia expectations yet? Like,
no,
are like
you're gonna sit here
and I know, but you're gonna sit here and tell me that Alabama's gonna be 8-4. You still think Georgia's gonna win a national championship?
If not Georgia, then who else? Like, who's really impressed you this year?
Michigan.
I mean, Michigan was playing like dog crap yesterday. Michigan was played worse than Georgia yesterday.
Oh, really?
JJ McCarthy threw 2 picks early on. They looked like dog crap yesterday, Michigan. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, after Georgia game, I was like, okay, well, let's see what Michigan looks like versus Bowling Green to see if, they got some juice. They won 31-6. JJ was 8 of 13, 143, 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Like, who in the country, T-Bob, right now is elite? There isn't an elite football team. Texas was losing the game at halftime, I believe.
Florida State
almost lost to Boston College.
Yeah, that final score was a little closer than the actual game was.
I'm just saying, like, why? I know you like to give me shit because I'm a Georgia guy here. No one has looked good this year. No one has looked elite for like a consistent 3 weeks. We're like, man, that is a national championship football team. There is not one. Right. So do I feel like Georgia can win it? Yeah, because I don't know anyone else that can right now. Okay. Like, it is as wide open college football as it has ever been. There is not one team right now that you can say, I feel comfortable putting my mortgage on them winning a national championship. Everyone's vulnerable.
I still feel more comfortable, though, with almost any of the other teams in age, simply because at least they're going to be tested during this year. Like, I really cannot wait to see what happens the first time Georgia runs into a good team. Maybe by that time of the season, they're like much better and they figured everything out and they'll be great. But if they had to play a good team right now, they would lose, I think.
Well, good thing they don't have to play a good team for a while.
True.
And I said this a month ago. I said the best thing that could happen to Kirby Smart and to this Georgia football team is that you play a close game in week 3 versus South Carolina. And Kirby can go back into that locker room after the game and during the week and say, guys, you are a shell of the national championship teams for the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And you better get your shit together if you want to win a national championship this year.
Yeah.
Because what we've seen so far is not good enough. Like, this was the perfect game for Kirby Smart. You win.
That's true.
It wasn't as close as the score seemed in the fourth quarter. It was in hand. But you can kind of go back and say, guys, there's still a lot of work.
Bro, you're down 14-3 at half. It was shocking. It was shocking. It was truly shocking. Speaking of being down, Tennessee fans, it was you had a good year and a half, I don't know. It's got to be a bit disappointing and look, I was one of the main ones banging the Tennessee drum where I was like, no, look, I just think that now Josh Heupel's like, it's so crazy, but I'm willing to give him that bit of the doubt that now Tennessee is just guaranteed second best team in the East, no question about it. And this game was going to be kind of indicative of it. Tennessee having not won in the Swamp in about 20 years, going down there was the perfect opportunity to say, okay, no, we are the big dog outside of Georgia in this half of the conference. And now Tennessee just looks kind of okay, I suppose, as Florida uses a crazy second quarter, which they outscore, 20 points in the second alone. And Tennessee just can't come back. And all of a sudden, a Florida Gator team that we thought looked like garbage, a huge win for Billy Napier.
They were more physical. Tennessee on defense, it was painful to watch at times, just the inability to tackle the ball carrier. Trevor Etienne went off. Montreal Johnson had some decent runs here or there. And then Graham Mertz was just dicing them up. I think this was in the first half. He was rolling to the right. There's a defender in his face. Receiver was chilling on the sideline. He threw it up and over the defender by about an inch in the perfect spot for the receiver to catch it and keep his toes in bounds. I'm like, wow. And I thought Graham Mertz has played well this entire season. Like, he's been extremely efficient. And I thought you saw a quarterback play with a lot of confidence. But when you're able to dictate the line of scrimmage like Florida did yesterday and just beat Tennessee up front, you're going to give your quarterback an opportunity. And they did. They won both lines of scrimmage. Tennessee couldn't rush the ball well, and Joe Milton is Joe Milton, man. He's average. He's not Hendon, and I don't know if he has that it factor when it comes to leadership too, where when things get going bad, that he can kind of rally the troops like Hendon was able to do.
Well, and ultimately, you mentioned the battle on the line of scrimmage, like ultimately for this Tennessee offense to be successful even last year, they got to run the ball. I mean, they were leading the SEC in rushing entering this game. And so when you hold them to 30 carries for 100 yards, that's how Tennessee's going to lose. And so credit Billy Napier, credit Florida for finding a way and getting a massive, much needed win at home. And now again, I think the biggest disappointment here, I'm sure Florida fans feel, definitely some kind of like, okay, like we needed something good after last year. We desperately need something good. But also Tennessee fans got to be like, man, are we like 7-6? Like, are we like, 8-4? Like I thought like Tennessee fans thought, and I thought this too, they were like a 10-win team every year from here on out. They kind of had that feeling of momentum. It doesn't feel, like Brum put in the chat here. Tennessee has the feeling of a one-hit wonder.
I don't think so. I think Heupel's a good enough coach, and they're recruiting at a pretty high clip right now, where I think this team is good enough in the future to be in a 12-team playoff scenario, a playoff team once every 3 or 4 years. Yeah, which if you're making the playoffs once every 3 or 4 years, I would say that's successful. I know Tennessee fans won't want that, but when you're in the SEC and the big boys are in this league, in Texas and Oklahoma and LSU and Alabama and Georgia, and if Billy Napier continues trending in the right direction, he's recruiting really well. Then like that one in every 4 years of making the playoff and having a chance to compete for a championship, I would say is successful. Yeah, that's for Tennessee fans to determine that. But I think Heupel has this program trending in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, and look, that's a team that, I mean, I like they got to be good on the line. But like when they hit on a quarterback, they will hit big because of Heupel and his.
Well, system. They got Nico. And that
they got Iamaleava. That's right. I forgot about
that's an interesting discussion.
Yeah, they paid him $8 million, dude. He better.
Joe is not impressed through the first 3 weeks of the season. He just hasn't. I mean, he's been very erratic. A lot of the stuff that got him benched 2 years ago are resurfacing. At what point do you just kind of say, this season is a wash? Let's put Nico in and build for the future. I think that's it. That's it. That to me, that is a real, after the way Joe Milton has played the past 2 weeks versus Austin Peay, and then obviously the way he looked versus Florida. Sometimes he just looked lost. At what point do you say, Nico, we're giving you the football? They play UTSA this weekend. Maybe you give him a half, see what he can do.
Well, and it's kind of crazy because, in something that will become more common, I would imagine, you do have some weird kind of financial pressure to play him. I mean, you paid him $8 million. So at a certain point, frustrations are going to get to the point where, like, whatever booster created that money, whatever booster gave that money is going to be like, hey, what's going on? Milton's not cutting it. What did I pay this kid to come here? If I didn't pay him to come ride the bench, let's go.
Especially if we're not winning games, put his ass in.
Yeah, and they still have Texas A&M, they still have Alabama, they still have UGA. Even though Alabama, again, Tennessee, that could be a get right game for you. Yeah. Or a get out of jail free.
How crazy do we think about there's not a lot of games I feel good about Tennessee at the moment, and there's not a lot of games where I'm like, oh, Alabama's for sure going to win that football game.
Yeah,
Alabama's for sure going to win that football game.
Bro, the SEC is all down.
It's crazy.
The SEC is all down. The SEC is all down all the way around. Even though now, you're like, it's so funny how reactive we are because now it's like, LSU though. I mean, I don't know. Look at Jaden Daniels, dude.
But look at the big I feel like the whole college football landscape is down. I don't know if it's just because the middle of the pack is elevated to the top.
No, but look at
the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Ohio State hasn't looked dominant.
No.
Michigan, we think they're good, but the past couple of weeks, I mean, it's not like they've been just kicking everyone's butt this season. They're averaging 30 points per game against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. So it's not like they're putting up 60 points.
But you've been impressed with McCarthy.
I have been I have been
within there.
But I'm just saying, it's not like they're just destroying everyone. I thought Penn State yesterday looked very average in their football game, very, very average versus Illinois. It's like those big three that everyone was saying, oh, the Big Ten has 3 teams inside the top 10. I don't think any three of them have been like, oh my God, world beaters. The Big 12 is the Big 12, kind of blah. The Pac-12 has been really the only shining light in college football.
Yeah.
All the other conferences have disappointed. I don't know if it's because the
Washington
bar was
has
so
been
high.
consistently great this season. That is one team that's been consistently
great. So is USC,
great.
Oregon has been really good. But I think it's because we set the bar so low because they're about to die that we're like, oh my God, look how good they are. And the SEC and Big Ten were up here and they haven't met those expectations. So obviously they must be shit.
No, it's what we talked about last week, man. And again, we will need more years of data to really see if this is the case. But it feels like the transfer portal has led to a strengthening of the middle class, right? Your group of 5 lower class teams have gotten talent leached upwards,
Power 5.
but then your elite, like your group of 5 teams have lost talent to the Power 5, right? So leached upward.
Yep.
And then your elite, your uber rich have lost talent downward. And like I said, it's creating that middle class where everybody feels way better because you can plug these holes that you couldn't in the past. So it's fun, man. This is how I want the sport to be. Like it is super fun.
Feels more like the NFL
right now. Yeah.
Feels more like the NFL.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing, obviously. Look at the NFL. Does pretty good. All right. That'll do it for Snaps. We will have a full recap on Monday. All the games, all the biggest storylines, everything from the weekend. Shout out for joining us on AMP. As always, youtube.com/@VolumeSnaps. Are we at 5K yet?
We should be by tomorrow.
Okay. Let's push towards 5K. We will do our Monday show live on YouTube. But I'm going to go try to climb out the doghouse for the rest of Sunday. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to get my mind right a little bit here. Yeah. Aaron, you have a great day. Thank you, Brum, for waking up with us as well. Shout out to my daughters who've been in the studio the whole time. They're well behaved. Did you hear them at all? Did you hear them in the background at all?
Just twice.
Okay, there you go. Not
They're
bad.
good though. They're great girls.
Girls, say bye.
Bye.
All right. We'll see you on Monday's episode of Snaps.